Recently, tier lists have been taking over YouTube, and I've got to admit, I'm obsessed. It's ruining my day, honestly. The last 2 or 3 days, I've just been watching tier list after tier list after tier list, and that's why there hasn't been a video in the last couple of days. And I felt like, how come the rest of YouTube can have all the fun with tier lists? Why don't I bring it to Sneaker YouTube, or maybe just my channel, because it's not that great of an idea, and relate it to sneakers? So what I'm going to do is create a tier list for the worst shoes of 2019 so far. And to be completely honest, the reason I'm doing this is because I've completely run out of ideas. I have nothing else going on. So this is what you're gonna get. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see on your screen, we've got some images of some of the most horrible and just by far the worst shoes of 2019. Some of them aren't so bad. Some of those will go in the higher categories, but a lot of these are just, what the hell were they thinking? But you know what? I feel like we have a chance right now to put these shoes in their place, both literally and figuratively. Some of these shoes will be Fs. Some of them will be A's. I doubt that any of them will be S's. To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what S is in the tier list. I just saw that everyone else's tier list had it, so I guess it's super. I always thought that A was the best that you could get. I didn't realize that there was like an extra level, you know? But maybe I'm missing something. But why don't we start out with a shoe that's not too bad, that some people might even be mad that it's on the list, and that is the Air Jordan 1 Defiant. I love Air Jordan... What the hell? This shoe, arguably, is not a terrible shoe. The reason I think it's not a great shoe is because of its construction. I think the paint job on the side is crap. I think the fact that it creases like a mofo is also crap. And some people have thought that there might be some connotations to the color scheme of the shoe, which I don't think is the case. So I won't be considering that when putting the shoe in its tier. I'm gonna give it a B. Because even though the colorway is kind of lazy and the paint chips off and it creases, really? I think it's probably one of the best looking shoes on this list or in this grouping of shoes. So that's why it's getting a B. In fact, you know, it might even move up to an A later on once we sort of parse everything else out because there's some stinkers here for sure. Next up, why don't we do the Versace Chain Reaction? This is a shoe that I don't understand. It looks like it's just a marshmallow on top of some marshmallows. I don't understand the design, you know, reasoning behind it, the design intent behind it. I just think it looks like garbage. Why don't we make this guy bigger for a second, show you guys how just whack it is. Like, that's a whack shoe. When you see that, you're like, that's whack. So why don't we put Captain Whackness here in the F category. You know what? No, that's definitely like one of the worst shoes. So we're gonna put that in the F category. Next up, we've got the Adidas Derupt S, which honestly is kind of like a polished turd. Like, you can't really make something that looks that bad originally much better. It does look better than the original, but it's still kind of garbage. It's still kind of like a fishnet shoe, which, you know, doesn't look great. And this colorway especially is not awesome. But let's give this guy a D, because it's not the worst shoe, not even close to the worst shoe, but it's still garbage. Next, let's go for the Air More heel. I don't know what this is. Let me actually check what this is, because I have no idea what this is called. It's called the Nike Air Quint. Not sure what that means, but that's what it's called. This shoe is kind of straight garbaggio, and I couldn't see anyone ever wearing this shoe. So I'm gonna put this in the F category as well, because just like the Versace Chain Reaction, it is also below garbage. Next up, we've got the Nike 720 Saturn. This shoe is actually not that terrible of a shoe, but to be honest with you, even though it doesn't look that bad, I have never once seen someone wearing the shoe. I've never even seen Nike employees wearing the shoe, and I've been to a lot of Nike events where this shoe has been at. I've never seen anyone wear it. So for that reason, I don't think it's the worst, but it has to be one of the worst shoes of the year because, I mean, if no one's wearing it, there's something wrong with it. Let's be honest. I actually think subconsciously I was putting it in the B category, and I think that's exactly right. I think that's a B shoe. It's kind of like, Next, we've got this just awful Air Jordan 3 women's high top. I don't understand why anyone would make this. I don't get the appeal behind it. It's not like a good high top shoe. It's also not a good Air Jordan 3. It's like they took the good parts of the Air Jordan 3, got rid of them, and then put a sock on top of it. And so that's what this is. Honestly, I think because it's got the base of an Air Jordan 3, and that's a solid sneaker, even though it is kind of ruined, I think I have to give it an E because at least it has, you know, some legacy there. Next, let's go for one of my favorites and a shoe that I've actually reviewed, which is the Nike Air Monarch Martine Rose. And this shoe, well, it looks like a monarch with tumors. It's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Apparently her design intent behind the shoe was to create something that no one would ever create, and I think she 100% succeeded with that because what the hell? This shoe takes a great shoe like the Monarch and honestly gives it a disease. Like it gives it the mumps or something. I don't know what's going on with this shoe. I gotta put this thing just in the F category because this is like what the hell? Yuck, you know? That's, ugh, no. Following that up, we've actually got a good shoe, a shoe that I don't hate, but I also don't like. And that shoe is the Supreme Air Jordan 14. Now this is a shoe when it first leaked, people were kind of ticked off about it. I saw a lot of other sneaker YouTubers saying that it's garbage. And to be fair, I don't disagree. Like, it's not a great looking shoe. They kind of took the Air Jordan 14, put studs on it, and then called it a Supreme collab. I mean, honestly, that's more than they do on some Supreme collabs, so I can't be too mad at it. I don't personally like the studs. I don't feel like they add anything to the shoe. I feel like it kind of makes it worse. But you know what? It's still an Air Jordan 14. It's still a shoe that we haven't seen in person yet, so we don't know, if it's really as bad as this image makes it out to be, or if it's actually, not that bad of a shoe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put this guy in the B category. He's a B. Next up, we've got the Comme des Garçons Nike Air Presto tent. What were they thinking with this? This literally looks like the helmet from a bad sci-fi action movie. And the colors that they picked somehow made it worse. Didn't think that was possible when your shoe looks like that. If you've seen the shoe in person, you'll see that it's actually a regular Nike Air Presto with this weird, like, canvas tent material over top of it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is another shoe that I've never seen on someone's foot, even in pictures. I don't think I've ever seen this on anyone's foot. And to be fair, who would wear this? This is kind of like a camp out special, and it's bad, but I don't think it's as bad as some of the other shoes on the list just because it has the base of a Nike Air Presto, which is a solid sneaker. So I'm gonna put this in the E category. Next up, we've got a shoe that I actually don't hate. Now, it is ugly. I'll give you that. It's ugly, but I don't hate it. And that, of course, is the Nike Mars Yard overshoot. Now, this shoe is actually a Nike Mars Yard with a sort of nylon boot over top of it. It's literally designed to be a boot that you'd wear to Mars, and for that reason I think it's cool. Also the fact that it's super limited and you have to pay about $2,000 to actually be able to get a pair, so that kind of takes it down a tier, I feel like. But the fact of the matter is that this shoe still has a Nike Mars Yard inside the shoe. So even though it's kind of a weird looking moon boot type shoe or like winter boot type shoe, it's still got a good shoe inside it, and I like the design intent behind it, so for that reason, we're gonna give it an A. It's not the prettiest shoe in the world, but it's better than a lot of these. Next up, we've got a shoe that's pretty hotly contested. I think some people, at least when this shoe released, were saying that they love this shoe, and now based on resale prices and the fact that it's about $100 under retail, leads me to believe that I think everyone's sort of done a complete 180. This is a social status Air Jordan 6. Honestly, the color scheme itself is awesome. Purple and black, Ravens fan, I think that's awesome. The problem comes in when you mix fake cow or pony hair with fake like snake skin or crocodile skin. Why would you do that? I do have to give this shoe credit though because it is an Air Jordan 6, and again, the colorway is not bad. I actually really like this colorway a lot, and if they just release a shoe in leather, awesome. But I think the materials are just that bad, and the fact that, obviously they're not gonna use real skin or real fur, but the fact that the fur and the skin feels so cheap and so bad, and it's a $250 shoe, this shoe has to go in the C category. Last but not least, we've got the Louis Vuitton Archlight, I think it's called, thigh-high boot. I understand thigh-high boots. I do. I get it. Like, it's a fashion thing. I totally understand it, right? I also understand the Louis Vuitton Archlight. I don't love the way it looks, but it's a shoe that people like. Why would you make this not only a thigh-high boot, but this thing goes to your crack, dude. This goes all the way up. This actually reminds me of those KD8s, those like bright orange KD8s that went all the way up to his knee. This is like as bad as those, if not worse. And I usually don't put women's shoes on the list, or like specifically like designer women's shoes on the list, because they get crazy as it is. But this is sort of a sneaker. How do you describe this shoe? Also, I kind of ran into another problem. This shoe doesn't actually fit in any of the tiers, so what I'm gonna have to do is pull one of these. So there you have it. This is my tier list of the worst shoes of 2019 so far. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below, letting me know if you think that I ranked these correctly, and also if there's any shoes that I left off the list, so make sure to leave those comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.